usually, or rather, last time what happened was that we did a student interaction with students. Lots of our guests didn't turn up, so I'm so glad to see so many of our guests for today who are the permanent residents or waiting to be permanent residents are already here. So the subject for discussion today. Before I get on to that, can you guys hear me? Give me a nod. I can see some people sort of saying yes. Some okay, yes, okay, perfect. Thank you for my friends who are waiting on the sidelines and giving me a nod. Appreciate it. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Hi, COPR.
Hi. Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I will have to wear these because otherwise the voice will start echoing. Where are you? Are you in Canada? Are you?
I'm in Canada. I'm in Toronto. Got a basement in North York. It is a walk-in. It is a two-bedroom apartment, two-bedroom basement.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. The rent is $1,500 inclusive of all utilities.
Okay. Very nice.
Which is fine as well. Yeah. I landed on the 18th of Feb.
Oh, just recently, last month. I mean, not last month, but a month before. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No COVID inside back then.
Okay.
Then initially I stayed with a friend for 25 days. My family arrived on the 13th of March.
Okay.
And once they arrived, the COVID restrictions came in place 2-3 days back.
Yeah, that
was after their arrival. So that's the initial background of what I'm going through currently.
Okay, but sort of, did you sort of find any jobs? Were you in the middle of job search?
Actually, I got in touch with a recruiter, and they sent me to a company. Basically, an individual had to go for vacations for his CPA examination.
Okay.
So I was called in for a 3-day trial initially.
Okay.
2-day trial was completed, and I was given the go-ahead that I would be given a contract on the 3rd day. And on that exact day, the COVID restrictions came into place, and I didn't get the contract.
Oh, that hurts, man. That hurts. That really hurts. Okay. Okay. So how are you coping up? Are you all right? Everything?
I'm fine. Great. The family is here. That's kind of a positive thing that at least I have time to spend with family now.
Absolutely. I mean, I absolutely. I mean, during this period, I mean, being with family is so much more important, right? I mean, sometimes we sort of. I mean, there are a lot of people who have already come to Canada, and the family was supposed to come in later, and now with all this, that also has become an issue. So, what kind of things are you hearing from your support network, your friends, your family who are already in Canada?
That it will take time. I think the job market currently will open up somewhere, if it opens, somewhere near June or July.
Okay.
I applied for Amazon fulfillment warehouse as well, and I got the job as well. I'm starting that next Wednesday now.
Oh, okay. Thank God. So at least something to keep you going, something to keep you busy for the time being.
Yeah. So that's the current scenario here. The job market, no new jobs are being posted, and if they are posting, no processing is currently being done. So it is difficult out here currently to find a job in your relevant field and in other fields as well. I got lucky with Amazon. I applied on time, and I got in. Let's see.
I'm sure. So tell me, I mean, there is another, I mean, this question also a lot of people keep asking. I'm sure as we will proceed, there will be more people who will be coming up with this question as well. Have you sort of checked for any benefits that might be applicable to you? Were you able to sort of identify anything for yourself?
There are a few conflicting stories. Canadian emergency response benefit, they say that even if you haven't earned $5,000 equivalent amount in Canada, but you have earned it from foreign sources, and you are currently residing in Canada, but the issue is there is a clause which states that you shouldn't have voluntarily left that job. So basically, CERB wouldn't be applicable to me in my case because I left my job voluntarily and came to Canada.
Of course.
So other than that, EI benefits don't apply to me as well. The childcare benefit does apply, but my wife, as she landed on the 13th of March, she didn't have time to get a SIN number. We went to the Service Canada, but they asked us to stay in quarantine for 14 days, and then their operations just got closed down, in-office operations.
But you know, right? You can apply for SIN number online now.
Yeah, but I'm waiting for a proof of residence document for her.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. So you have pretty much sorted out, Mohammed. I'm so happy. I'm so glad that I'm speaking to you, and there is at least some sense of calm. I can see that you're feeling you're not as anxious that a lot of people have been lately. So I'm glad. Alhamdulillah. That's really good. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Thank you for having joined in today and shared your bit of the story. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, COPR.
Thank you. So that was Mohammed. It was so nice of him to have sort of come on online and spoke to us about what's happening with him. And I'm going to bring my next guest, Nawal. Nawal, are you ready? Okay, let's see what she has to say. Hi, Nawal. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How are you?
I'm very well. How have you been?
Yes, we are good.
Excellent. So are you in Canada, or are you preparing to come to Canada? What's happening?
We are in Canada. We landed on the 11th of March.
11th of March. That was just there. Okay, all right. And what have you guys been doing? I mean, are you a provincial nominee? Are you a federal skilled worker? CEC? How did you come in? Okay, and which part of Canada are you in right now?
Stratford.
I'm sorry?
Stratford.
Okay, you're in Stratford. That's nice. How is the community? Why did you choose to go to Stratford?
My husband had an job offer from Stratford, and hence we came here.
Okay.
And after we landed, we self-isolated ourselves for 14 days out of precaution because we have 2 children, and so we by ourselves self-isolated ourselves.
Okay.
And chose to keep things at bay because that was more important according to the laws and everything.
Absolutely.
And yes, henceforth everything got shut.
Okay, but you said your husband had a job offer. What kind of a job does your husband? I mean, what kind of industry is he in?
Yeah, it was in an industry where he was offered. His friend is also over here, so he had told him to come after 14 days when we finish. But then everything got shut. So unfortunately,
So is he working now, or is he not working?
He applied for a store and he got through.
Okay.
So recently, just last week. So we are little at ease, but yeah, initially it was like too much anxiety because and the kids don't have anything to do, and they're like, "Mama, we are all bored. We cannot go out."
Absolutely. How many kids do you have?
Yeah, I have 2 kids.
Okay, all right. So I mean, I'm sure you're gonna keep them busy.
And we came here on an Airbnb for a week. And then we thought that after a week, we will, according to everything, we will see an apartment. But then we were not getting any apartment. And now, then my husband fortunately got one apartment. And when we were to shift there, the host of this Airbnb told us to stay back. She liked it as a guest or something. I don't know. She
lucky you.
Stay back. And so we stayed back. And yes, because shifting also was not advisable. It was
of course, yes, it would have been a bit of a hectic as well, right? With things having gone down.
Again, unpack, pack, and all that stuff. And yeah, so we are staying here. We've got an apartment. The contract, but I didn't enroll my children in school. So now because all the schools have started online, and I regret not doing that because if I would have enrolled them, even they would have started online.
True. So did you manage to get your SIN number sorted out?
Yes, at the airport itself. We purposely had the flight in such a way that it lands in the morning so that the Service Canada is open and we can get those things at place.
Oh, that's good. So that's such a relief, I mean, considering that SIN has become such an issue in terms of finding a job, etc. And what about your health care? Are you taking care of that?
No, so that's what I wanted to ask also, that we have insured ourselves as in through our travel agency for 3 months, but now OHIP I cannot apply. I don't know why, it's just not getting through. So is it okay that after 3 months also we'll have to extend our insurance with this person, or it's fine?
Okay, first things first, Ontario government had already announced that all COVID-related treatment, if it has to be given to anybody, regardless of whether you have insurance, you're covered, you're not covered, it will be provided by the government free of cost. So that is one thing out of the way. Second thing, Ontario or OHIP also waived off their 3-month waiting period, because of this COVID scenario. So if you are to go to Service Ontario, which basically, now that you do not have your isolation period, I think that is a trip worth making. What you will need to do is you will basically need some proof of residence. I'm not sure if you've been able to gather something, at least some proof of residence. And you can complete the application form online itself from the OHIP website. complete that and make a trip to the Service Ontario office. Before you go to Service Ontario, please go online on the Service Ontario website and see which locations are open and what are their timing, because a lot of the locations are not open anymore because of the COVID. So they have sort of restricted operations only to a certain of their locations. So before you go there, check but yeah, it's worth getting it done right now if you can, and that might be worth sort of stepping out and getting it done for.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
All right.
And
Yeah, go ahead. So
thank you.
you see. Okay,
No,
thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, stay safe. Keep washing your hands. I'm sure children are pretty naughty all the time, but yeah,
yes.
keep them engaged. Stay safe, and thank you so much for coming online.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that was Naval. And again, for people who are already in Ontario, in Canada, first things to understand is that most of the provincial governments have already declared that any kind of treatment related to COVID is going to be free of cost. Whether you are insured, you are not insured, you're eligible for the healthcare benefits or not. And if you're in Ontario, then you should understand. Then you should know that Ontario government had already waived off the 3-month waiting period. So if you're here in Ontario, you should know that the 3-month period has been waived off. If you already have the OHIP card but it was not activated, then please call Service Ontario, give them the OHIP, your card number, and they will make the appropriate adjustments in your record. And if you are just landed or have recently landed but still did not get your OHIP number or registration number or OHIP card, or you did not register for OHIP, please go to the nearest Service Ontario. Before you go there, please check on their website to see if they're still open, and you will be able to sort of get yourself an OHIP care from get-go. Right, the next on to come is Mr. Chinmay. Chinmay, hey Chinmay, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I like the smile, man. I like the smile. Okay, for people who do not know, Chinmay also is a very, very active moderator for our Facebook groups. Thank you for being a responsible moderator. So and thank you for sort of sparing your time and making the effort to make sure all our groups are safe and spam free. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
Chinmay, which part of Canada are you in?
I'm in Manitoba.
Oh, Manitobian. We have a Manitobian. Yay, go Manitoba. Excellent.
I was in Ontario before this. So
okay.
I moved to Manitoba in September last year.
Okay.
Because of a new job here.
Which part of Manitoba are you in?
Winnipeg.
Oh, you're in Winnipeg. Okay, that's even better. And what do you do, Chinmay?
I'm a scientist here. I work at the University of Manitoba.
Tell me you're working on finding a cure for this COVID.
No, unfortunately.
Oh, you're not that kind of a scientist.
I'm a neuroscientist.
Oh, you're a neuroscientist. I don't know what that means, but it sounds already so technical and okay. But I mean, the minute somebody says I'm a scientist, you don't want to talk to them. You don't want to argue with them because they will say something and you can't really come back with anything. So you're saying you're a scientist and a neuroscientist, whatever that means. What does it mean, by the way?
I study the brain. I studied Alzheimer's disease and gestational diabetes.
Okay, all right. So you do some very, very important work, which is always very nice. Okay, tell me when did you become a permanent resident, Chinmay?
I became a permanent resident in January 2020.
Okay, all right. So you basically have all your basics covered. So you have your accommodation covered, your health benefits covered, your SIN numbers covered. You have a job?
Yes. Still, I have a job.
Okay.
No, I don't go to work. The university is closed. So our bosses have said that you can work from home.
Okay. And are you working from home?
A little bit, like 3-4 hours.
But isn't this ironical? Always we wanted to work from home. Always we wanted, for people who do not get that benefit, that they wanted to have extended weekends, long weekends. They wanted to just work from home, not turn up to the office because they thought the productivity is going to be high. And I'm sure it is for some people. But now that you are in the extended work from home period, how does it feel?
It feels really horrible. I miss my workbench.
Okay, all right. Now we are having those withdrawal symptoms, right? We want to go back to work and start working from the work location. Okay. Is your family? I mean, are you married? You have family?
Yes, I'm married. We just had a newborn.
Oh, congratulations! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that was just 3 days before this COVID thing came into effect. 16th March, and he was born on 13th of March.
Okay.
But I could see
you're not naming him her COVID or Corona kind of a thing.
No,
right?
no.
Okay. But the family is fine. Everybody's okay.
Yes, everyone is doing good.
Okay.
But I wanted to say that there has been a lot of changes in the healthcare system
Okay,
after
what?
this COVID thing. Like you cannot go to the hospital with the baby for anything. The midwife or the doctor comes to home for
Okay,
his weekly checkup as
that's
of
pretty good.
now,
All right.
but that will change now because of his immunization and other things. So,
Okay. And tell me, for you, how different is this period been? I mean, how long have you been in Canada? I think you've been in Canada for a bit, right? How long have you
yeah,
been in
I've
Canada?
been here since 2 years now.
Oh, since 2 years. So,
Yeah.
what do you feel? I mean, what do you think is the general sentiment out there? I mean, I haven't been in quite some time to Winnipeg, so I mean, only faint memories there. But what do you feel? I mean, everybody basically talks more about the bigger cities, right? You will always have people in conversation about Toronto, about people from what do you call
Vancouver.
Vancouver, even Montreal.
Yes.
Not so much from Regina, not so much from Winnipeg, not so much from Calgary and Edmonton. So what do you feel being in Manitoba?
I think this was my best decision to move from Toronto to Manitoba, Winnipeg,
Okay,
because I found people really, really friendly,
okay.
helping in nature, coming forward and helping, which is almost everywhere in Canada. But in Manitoba, I saw a different people. Like people were really different.
You're saying people are different from Ontario or rather Toronto to
Ontario, like, yeah, my personal experience was some people were rude in Ontario.
okay, okay. Sorry about
in
that.
Toronto, in
Then,
Toronto.
then on behalf of the Ontarians, then I must apologize to you that you
No, no,
felt.
no. You don't have to. I was an Ontarian for 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But
So,
okay, but give me stark differences. A lot of people want to always ask people who haven't really come to Canada yet. They
yeah,
need that first person perspective. And a lot of times when they ask me, then I cannot give them that perspective because I haven't really lived in a different city. Uh,
yes.
as a visitor, your perspective is different than a resident. So now that you have lived in Toronto, you are living in Winnipeg. What would be your reasons or your understanding of stark differences between Winnipeg and Toronto?
So, first of all, everything is cheaper here in Winnipeg.
Okay, there you go. That's the one
That's the
which matters more.
biggest factor. A two-room apartment is like $1,500, including all utilities, including hydro. So,
That's pretty good.
which is impossible, I guess, in Toronto at this point.
Yeah, forget about it. I mean, yeah,
So,
not happening for
not
quite some time
happening.
now. Yeah,
Yeah. Groceries are a bit expensive in comparison to Toronto.
really.
Yes, the sales tax is, I think, a little bit high,
Okay,
but it won't make a big difference. The salary is low because of the standard of living here,
okay, all right, fair
and
enough.
the insurance are cheap, especially the vehicle insurance.
Okay,
For in Ontario, for my G driving license, with the G driving license with experience, it came out around $500 or $400 per month, and
okay.
here I'm paying $400 per 3 months, so
Oh
twelve hundred
wow,
dollars a year.
wow.
That's a big
Yeah,
difference.
that's a huge. But then tell me, does it also make a difference in your salaries? I mean, I mean, what you get paid, where you're
Yeah,
getting paid, is that also less than what you would have got paid in Toronto?
yes, it's a little bit less.
Give me a percentage. I mean, obviously, I don't want to know
Like it
exactly the
would
figure.
be 20
Would you
to
say
25% less
so? You're
in
getting paid 20% less, 25% less
yes,
in Winnipeg.
Manitoba.
But
Yeah,
then, would you not sort of give it the same comparison that if the cost of living is higher in
yes,
Toronto, then
yeah,
your paycheck also is higher by 25
yes,
percent, and
yes.
then so it sort of balances out, right?
It balances out. So I'm not complaining at all.
Okay, you're not complaining. No, I mean I can understand, but the reason why I'm asking you these questions
Yeah,
is because for people who are watching, so even if they can understand that, right? So suddenly everybody might start thinking, okay, Winnipeg is cheaper, let's move there. But
yes,
it's you need to put everything in balance. The fact that your paycheck is also lower in Winnipeg than it would have been in Toronto. So if you put a balance, if you put a number to it, it would be in the range of 20 to 25%. Okay, and
yeah,
if that is what your cost of living is higher by, then it sort of all balances out.
balances out. Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you so much, Chinmay. Thank you so much for having joined us. I
Thank
appreciate it for having shared your part of the story, and
you.
wish you all the best. Keep
Thank
safe,
you.
keep
Yeah.
safe, and keep your wash your hands, and we'll catch you around soon. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
joined us.
Bye bye.
That was Chinmay. So as we see, we are having some amazing stories that people are coming up with, sharing with us. Again, and I'm just taking this as a small summary out of what just Chinmay shared with us. Most of the people who migrate to Canada, for some reason, whether it's family, friends, or their research leads them only to big urban centers like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and they sort of are wary of moving to smaller cities or smaller centers, and one of the reasons is because they think they won't find jobs. But actually, it's not that. There have been several reports of job availability in so many parts of Canada. They're really struggling to find skilled workers. They're really struggling to find good staff. But the thing is that because people are so concentrating around these 3 or 4 or 5 urban centers, that people don't really move to those cities. The result is that if you are looking for a job in Toronto, if you're looking for a job in Vancouver or Montreal, you will have some stiff competition, and you will have problems finding a decent accommodation. You will have problems, moving around in terms of depending on where you stay. So you will probably live in a GTA area. If you're in Toronto, you will live in the suburbs because that is more affordable, but then the commute will take its toll. So moving to smaller suburban cities is not actually a bad idea, because there are jobs. You might get paid a bit less, but that gets compensated, as Chinmay explained, in the standard of living, in the cost of living. So if you are still haven't moved to Canada, or even if you are in Canada and still haven't got your bearings, well, that is something which you might consider. My next guest today is Mr. Vishal, and I'm bringing him on now. Hey, Vishal, how are you?
Hi.
Are you in Canada? Are you not in Canada?
Yes. I moved to Toronto on Feb 5th.
Okay. And you moved to Toronto Feb 5th. Okay, perfect. And so you're
Yeah.
a Canadian experience class, federal skilled worker, PNP?
FSW.
FSW. Okay. And then where did you come in Canada? What did you do? Tell me what exactly happened.
So so like Chinmay said, I'm also a scientist.
Oh, okay. Another scientist, also a neuroscientist?
And we are friends.
Oh, there you go. So you're both in the same batch or something. Okay, you guys are okay.
No, so basically we became friends after I applied.
Okay.
So I was just looking for similar field guys in Canada, and then we kind of hooked on and things like that. But
Okay.
the point was I'm still unemployed. So
Okay, where exactly are you now? Are you in Manitoba? No.
I'm in Toronto.
Oh, you're in Toronto. Okay. So
Yeah.
being a scientist, I mean, are you having same difficulty that all of us face when we look for jobs, or rather most of us face? The reason why I'm asking is because yours is such a much more specialized and specific field, right? I mean, McDonald's is not going to use scientists at this point of time, and so you would have so many targeted and niche employers that would want your skills. So do you also face the same kind of problems that rest of the?
Unfortunately, so I had 2 failed interviews. Then I realized that I was aiming at a very low position, because I was anyway starting clear here. So but then I think I didn't give the right message across, or deliver across to the employer, that I wouldn't leave the job based on the pay that I would get, say, 3 months down the line, or something like that.
Okay.
So I guess they didn't take the decision. It was advertised for something lower in qualification. Mine is a PhD.
Okay.
So they were advertising for masters or bachelors. So and salary wise, it's actually there's a 50% difference.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then the ones that I qualified in the first round, they're all on hold. So 3 leads that I have are on hold.
Oh boy. All
right.
So I mean, but is there? I mean, considering you guys, again, there is so much of R&D happening right now, especially in the field of healthcare. Wouldn't you feel that your services would be more in demand right now, especially now with the way things are?
So yeah, whatever I'm hearing from my quarters, basically here I have two other friends who are in the industry, and what they say is they have shut down the labs
Oh, right.
essentially.
Okay.
And the interviews that are on hold for me as well. When I spoke to the person who interviewed me in the first instance, so when I called him back, he just said, whenever things get better, you just call me back, because as of now we are shutting down our labs.
Okay. All right. Well, then
So
what are you doing then in the meantime? I mean, I can understand the labs are being shut down. Okay, not essential
uh,
services kind of a thing, but
I mean, you heard from Chinmaya as well, right? That his lab is also shut down. He's working from home
yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So only if you are working on viruses, especially then, and especially that is targeted towards COVID. This one, unless
Then
and until you are working on those lines, I think no other lab is open.
okay.
Um,
But
and that's how
that's
it works, I
that's
guess.
quite
So in the
understandable. Yeah.
meantime, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to start a YouTube channel and trying to
Okay.
compete with you.
Okay, all right. Welcome, welcome. There is not much competition. I mean, thankfully, not, I wouldn't say thankfully, but my YouTube channel is quite small, and the only
So
reason we
I
do it
mean,
on the YouTube channel is because sort of have wider reach.
if you would be interested, this is the setup I've just bought.
Oh wow, okay, all right. You're pretty serious
Uh,
about it. That's pretty good.
yeah. So
And your YouTube channel is going to be. Please don't tell me. Please tell me it's not about immigration, because there are so many of them out there. Everybody, for some reason, everybody who lands in Canada wants to be a YouTuber. I mean, okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but
no,
the problem
this
is the
is
misinformation that is coming out.
this is COVID that has pushed me there.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Then you're most welcome. But
So yeah,
just
I couldn't sit idle, so I thought I'll do something.
sure.
So I have been, so my first video is taking a lot of time, uh,
So,
understandably.
so now
Uh,
you understand what a pain it is to sort of make a
yes,
video and put it up.
yes,
Okay, all right.
yes,
As
yes.
long as that. So, but how are you otherwise scoping up? I mean, in terms of, are you what about your money scenes, or what about trying to take care of your expenses and life in
Yeah,
general?
I mean, I'm a little sleep deprived, I have to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have a passion in cooking as well, so I cook whenever I get a little depressed.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, as long as you can keep your family is with you in Canada, or they're still.
No, so me and my wife did a soft landing. She went back to India.
Okay, she went back to India. So is
Yeah,
she
so
planning to come back? Not come back yet? How's it?
no, so she had her career plans.
Okay.
So she's pursuing those till she finishes certain milestones. I'm
Okay.
also okay with it.
Okay. All right. Sort of makes sense. Makes sense. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
whatever works. Whatever works. But Vishal, thank you so much. Thank you for having joined with us and
yeah,
shared
yeah,
your part of the story.
yeah, sure.
One thing that I've noticed now on the video is that you keep touching your face a lot. That is one thing that you should sort of try avoid doing.
I mean, this is understandably itchy now. So
Yeah, man, shave it off, man. There's a good deals out in Costco's and all, giving you a lot of grooming equipment. Everything is on sale. But yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Vishal.
yeah,
Thank you for joining us, man.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, that was Vishal touching his face to one too many times and too often. So I think another reason, another thing that we should avoid while. I mean, actually, even I have this very very bad habit. But apparently, it said in an hour you touch your face like around 20-30 times or something, and that is also advised that you shouldn't do as much, or you can try and avoid as much as you can. Right. Next, we are bringing online is Mr. Ankit. Hello, Ankit. Hi. Your microphone is off.
Yeah.
Okay, now
Hi,
it's on.
Kuber.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you in Canada? Because it looks like a basement apartment.
Yes, I am in Canada.
Because the minute you see a window above your head, the minute you see a
Yeah.
window above your head level, it sort of indicates you're in a basement apartment somewhere. So how long? When did you come to Canada?
So I landed on a very historic day, 14th of Feb,
Oh, any
with my
particular
wife.
reason you landed on 14th of Feb? Was there any reason to choose that particular date? Sort of.
Not really. We got the cheapest flight, so we just took a direct
Okay.
flight from India, and we landed
Okay.
on the 14th of Feb.
Excellent. What kind
And
of which part of Canada are you in?
I am right now staying with my brother in Brampton.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So
Family, so
my
family is always good if you have.
yeah. So my brother, like he landed last year September,
Okay.
and he came alone, stayed with a friend, and settled down things. And by the time I could land with my wife, we had taken a basement, and
Okay.
we are as of now in Brampton.
Okay.
But the situation was because as the date which we landed and this year has become a very historic year for all of us,
Yeah, it is
and
already.
yeah, so this will be marked in history books of the.
It would be, yes. But tell me, what kind of industry or what kind of profession or occupation are you
So
from?
I am a video producer and a video editor. Uh,
Oh, so tell me, are you also into YouTube? Please tell me no.
no.
Okay, perfect. Because somebody, I mean, as I said earlier, the previous guest was all about videoing. So I thought
Yeah,
maybe
I was. No, no.
Okay,
So
so in your
I have
profession,
done.
what do you think? What's happening? If you are into videographing and video editing, obviously Toronto has a huge market for that. But what's
So Kuber,
happening?
Kuber, frankly saying, when I landed, it was the winters were at its peak, and
Yes.
yeah, and we look like easily took a week or so to get ourselves adjusted and everything.
Mhm.
And by the time I was looking for jobs and applying for interviews, a lot of calls came, and they had a positive sign. And then, as in when this entire pandemic thing happened, WHO WHO that said that now it's a pandemic, and then people were also getting into that zone of
Okay.
now what will happen and all that stuff. And by the mid of March, everything was getting shut, and so yeah, so then I was not getting any positive response. So I then moved and made a couple of there's a Upwork, there's a freelance.com,
Yes,
there's
of course.
so there are these websites where I have I'm signed up and made my account and put in my portfolios, and yeah. So but as of now, and in Facebook as well,
Okay.
where there are a couple of pages for producers, video editors, filmmakers. So I am getting in touch with people
Okay.
now in the last couple of days, but haven't officially started my Canadian work as of
Okay,
now.
I have a small idea for you, Ankit. I mean, I since you're into videographing and video editing and all that, and since this whole time is feeling so awkward in
Mhm.
terms of job, why don't you start something about teaching video editing and videography? I know, I mean, I'm probably leading you into making another YouTube channel as such or whatever, but I find dearth of quality. Teaching material out there in terms of which are, I'm not saying there aren't, because there are tons and tons of videos, whether it's on YouTube, whether you go to Udemy or any of these platforms. But if you are in that profession, maybe you can think about sort of starting or designing a program where you can teach people of how to shoot videos or the nuances of video editing and that kind of a thing. Have you thought about that at all?
No, I haven't thought about this frankly. So
If you
basically,
become
when
successful with this, you are paying me a royalty.
definitely I'll do that. In each of the video, I'll credit Kuber.
Okay, perfect. All right. No, I mean it's just a thought.
No,
Okay,
okay, yeah.
I'll tell you why am I saying that, right?
Mm.
They say, right, need is the mother of all inventions, kind of a thing.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
With everybody paying so much of attention, only looking for jobs. Everybody's thinking about finding a job, looking for a job. Can I find a job? Job. Instead of being an employee, why are people not thinking of being an employer instead?
Employer itself.
I'm not saying that invest money, but there are
Sure.
so many work from home opportunities in terms of what you can start. I guess these are the difficult times where people can think out of the box, can try
Mhm.
something new, be innovative with your skills that you have, skill sets that you have, and you never know where it could lead you.
Yeah. Surely. Thank you for this idea, and I'm
I mean,
definitely
especially with
have a
you. I
try.
mean, trust me, when I mean, YouTube was not my idea. Video editing was never my idea, and but ever since I started, it has been a steep climb uphill trying to figure out how to put together a decent video and put it out there. And even now I struggle. I mean, every single day when I come up with something, it takes time. Anybody else who does a YouTube video will tell you that to shoot or rather to put out a 10 to 12 minute content, quality content, first of all, you'll record for about an hour and a half at least, or maybe anywhere in that range. At least I take that much of time. And then the amount of editing that goes into it is just, my God. And then, you know, things like you will need a B-roll and you need lots of software going on behind that, some animation, some music, some this, oh boy. Okay, people just do not understand how much time and effort it takes to create one. So I mean, I think it's a huge market out there. Maybe just you should give it a shot.
Yeah, surely. So thank you so much. I will definitely, because I have my own setup as well at my place.
Okay. Okay, your microphone gone again.
Sorry. Hello.
Okay, yeah, now it's all right. Sorry.
Sorry. So I have my own setup as well with myself. So yeah, definitely I can like took into this aspect as in to teach how to people, whether it's a very basic thing. I won't go into a very technical thing because I have plus. So it's an in-depth process. But yeah, for a basic vlogger or for a starter in a YouTube, definitely I can do this angle as well. So yeah, thank you for this. But apart from this, Kuber, what is as in, because I have been following you back from India, and when I was planning to come, when I had applied for PR, and the entire process, I was following you, and I was in like it's a great thing that you do, and thank you so much for all the new immigrants and for the new students who are coming here. And it's a platform which is there to clear out your doubts. Whether it's filling up in your COPR, whether you're getting your COPR, whether the visa, whatever. It's like A to Z process that you have explained, and it's very helpful for us. So finally I've landed, but unfortunately this entire thing happened. So now I'm looking up for jobs. I'm looking for freelance work, but it's right now it's something like a catch-22 situation, because obviously you have your career, your vision also in one way, and then you have to also get your bread and butter, so that your basic rent and your initial cost has to be incurred. And plus right now I'm with me and my wife, so we both are unemployed. So yeah, so there is a big bit of emotional and a mental stiffness going around. But yeah,
it's quite normal, right?
Yeah, but as in for your experience and your what do you think that how this entire thing will come up, like the job market, how the things will cope up in Canada?
Oh boy. Okay. So actually, I've been researching a lot, since I have a new video that I was putting together, and that has more to do with the benefits that people in Canada can avail, and there's a lot of information going in for that. And the figures that are coming up are staggering. I mean, they're like ridiculous in terms of the number of people who have lost jobs. So 1 million people were already reported as having lost jobs in the month of March. But that report was compiled on the 15th of March. So you can understand that, lots of things that happened after the 15th were not taken into account. More than 800,000 people in Canada reported of, working less number of hours than what they would otherwise. And nearly another 500,000 reported that they were working from home. So technically they were still working, but they were not getting paid, or they were told to take a pay cut, or to told, go on unpaid leave kind of a thing. So that is approximately more than 2 million numbers already. And then if you look at the number of people who have availed benefits, from the Canadian government under this thing, that's a huge number in millions as well. Now, that gives you an indication of things to come, as in when this pandemic is over. And of course, the biggest industry that has been hit really, really bad is your service and, food and retail industry. And this industry is basically one of the largest, they are the ones who sort of employ the largest number of people. And you can expect that once everything sort of, hopefully the sooner the better, sort of comes back to normal. But these industries will take time to come back again, because there's a lot of interaction between human beings when you go out in retail, whether you go out for restaurants or food and beverage or service industries, there's a lot of interaction. So mentally, I personally feel, it's my opinion, that even after this pandemic is over, because it is going to leave such a huge mental, thing on our heads, you will not see people mingling or, getting away from the social distancing anytime soon. So though people will say, okay, you don't need to socially distance yourself, but mentally I will be so aware of this. I will not want to be, very in close proximity to people. So whether it's your sporting events, whether it's your arena events, whether it's your theater events, whether it's your movies, whether it's your, concerts, whether it's any kind of crowded places, people are going to refrain or people are going to avoid going there. Any kind of luxury business, any kind of cruise line holidays, luxury brands, all of them are going to take, or rather, at least I feel they're all going to take a serious hit. And all this is going to have very, very big effect on the job market. And what that will do is, for example, one, you will see a lot of people moving, changing their lines. So, for example, if you're a videographer, you might become a YouTuber. So, or somebody earlier who was a scientist, he might certainly change and get himself into marketing. Somebody or he might even start teaching, because being a scientist, he's done his PhD, he could think of, becoming a teacher. A teacher might become a realtor might become immigration consultant, for all you know. So, people will sort of move industry, move jobs, because that would be the most, logical thing to do. Apart from that, for any entry-level position or for any for any position where the skill requirements are pretty general or generic, there will be tons of applicants. So your survival jobs are going to be difficult to come by. Your part-time jobs are going to take a hit, and you'll have difficulty. So if you have a niche market, if you have a niche skill set which is still in demand, I think you're going to be all right. But by and large, for most of us who are into a very generic or a big industry type, for example, service industry, food and beverage industry, retail, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle a lot. And Canada is no different than anywhere else in the world. We all share equal mindsets, because human beings after all, right? So and because the spending is going to go down as well, right? So people are not going to be, so for example, so many months of job losses, so many months of your mortgage payments having been deferred, your credit cards payment have been deferred, your loan payments being deferred. Deferred means what? Deferred means, does not mean that you don't have to pay that money. Deferred means push back, right? Some banks are still charging you or accruing interest. Some are sort of not, depending on who you are banking with or whatever. But you will still have debt and no income for the last few months. For a lot of people, lots of expenses would have piled up. For a lot of people, they would have actually gathered more debt or would have increased their debt. So in this scenario, you're not looking at being spendthrift at all. So your spending is going to be really, really tight. Because of that, anybody who studies economy will tell you that one of the ways to improve economy is to improve spending, because the more people will spend, the better the economy will be. So if people are not going to spend, or the consumer spending is not going to happen, the economy is really going to be difficult to sort of get to the same level. So I expect this to have lasting effects. I expect this to be sort of we will see effects of this for at least a couple of years to come, at least.
So Kubit, just wanted to ask one more thing, is that what do you suggest, so that, because right now we are here, so we can't take a back foot and go back, and because at the end India is also struggling with the economic crisis. So what do you suggest, that if the people who are planning to come to Canada as of now, and who are right now in their jobs and they're planning to leave or put down the papers, and then they're planning to come with their family or from whomsoever, so shall they take that step as of now, or they should just hold on for a bit, because obviously the situation in Canada by itself is also will be into a crisis?
Well, it's a great question that you have put forward. I'm sure a lot of people who are watching, a lot of them may have not made the transition yet, may have not taken the plunge yet, or having come into Canada, right? To them, the first piece of my personal advice would be to stay put. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying stay put, and I've been saying that to lots of people who are still asking, should I travel now? Should I travel now? And I'm saying, no, don't travel now. And the reason why I'm saying don't travel now is, okay, you will come to Canada. First thing right now is 14 days isolation, mandatory isolation. So you'll have to be in. So if you do not get a SIN number at the airport, you cannot get a SIN number outside. You cannot open a bank account. You will not be able to sort of go to the health authorities to get your health card, because everybody is going to ask you. You need to self-isolate yourself. That's the first thing. After having done that, there was already a restriction from Airbnb, not from Airbnb, but from the Ontario government, that not all non-essential businesses are going to shut down, which includes lots of Airbnb, which is not offering accommodation for essential purposes. Now, how that will be defined, whether a permanent resident coming and staying in Canada, is that essential or not essential, I do not know. Who is going to decide or define that? But as you can notice, lots of Airbnb accommodation that were earlier available, they're pulling out their listings, and they're actually putting them up for longer or longer lease requirements, kind of a thing. So accommodation is going to be difficult to find, and even if you were to find accommodation, the hosts are going to be a bit reluctant to sort of letting people come in, because again, with this COVID thing. After you've done that, so let's say you've found your accommodation, you've managed to sort of isolate yourself, then what about the jobs, as you yourself are facing, and you've already been here for some time, right?
Yeah.
Job market is going to be difficult for quite some time to come. Okay. Now, I know the same thing is happening in India, and there are a lot of people who told me earlier, well, we have resigned from our jobs, we have given up on our lease, we have got children out from the school, we were ready to come, and now we can't come. Why are you asking us not to come? Because I would rather come to Canada and wait. But let me remind you one thing. If you are going to come to Canada and wait, you are quickly going to eat away into your proof of funds. The funds that you had, the 13,000, 15,000, 20,000 that you were expected to maintain, and that you probably would have bought with you or will bring with you, you are quickly going to eat away into those funds without actually, generating much source of income in the current scenario. Plus, you're paying big bucks for your accommodation. You're paying big bucks for your, if you are to get out of your house and, do anything which you need to do for essential necessities or needs, you're going to spend big bucks for your groceries and essentials, whatever you might want to spend on. If you can avoid that at this point of time, then wouldn't you want to? Wouldn't that make more sense? Because, okay, this is how it is. If I'm a Delhi boy, I'm from Delhi, right? So if I was in Delhi today, I would rather be surrounded with family, friends, support.
Yeah.
It's something which I know. It's my comfort zone. I mean, I know this area, right? I know my bearings. I know my surroundings. I know how to get around. I'm more comfortable being here versus coming to Canada, coming to a strange land. I'm coming for the first time, for example. Or I may have visited earlier, but I'm settling down in Canada for the first time. I do not know anybody. I may have few friends or relatives, but now they can't meet me. So I can't really meet them and, go hi, hello, or spend some time with them. It's going to be very, very
difficult,
isolated life. Okay.
Yeah.
And trust me, after the first few days, once your jet lag wears off, if you don't have family, friends around, if you don't have a support network, your support, platforms around you, it can get very depressing, very demotivating, very, very quickly, because either you will take up a survival job, which is happening with lots of companies like Amazon, Walmart, Sobeys, Food Basics. All these people have been, advertising lots of jobs. But if you are to take up a job with them, it's going to be a survival job, number one. If you don't take up a job with them, you're going to be cooped up in your house, not being able to do much, not being able to get around much. Do you really want to do that at this point of time is the question. Okay. And then you make your own choices, you make your own decisions. You should be able to call your own shots and say, okay, am I happy doing that, or am I happy doing this? Canada is not running away anywhere. Okay. You've got your COPR, you've got your approvals, you've got everything in hand. Make a sensible choice. Would you, again, for most countries, Canadian dollars is more expensive. I'm giving you an example from India, right? At today's trading rate, it's anywhere like $55, 55 rupees to a dollar. So if you're going to come to Canada and say, even if you take up a basement apartment and spend $1,000 a month or $1,500 or $1,200 a month, you are still spending 60 to 70,000 rupees cooped up in one small area, not being able to go out, not being able to meet your family, friends, look for jobs, do anything at all. So do you want to come and spend that much money there, rather here in Canada, or rather just be where you are for the time being till things settle down, till you're able to make better sorted decisions?
Yeah, I would also suggest the same. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my logic and reason for why I'm suggesting. But again, people are free to make their choices, because some people do have other priorities. They do have other things that is already, going on in their head. So, I mean,
Yeah,
to them, I will just say, be sensible. And if you do have to travel, be aware of what you will expect on this side of the shore.
of the show. Yeah, yeah, completely agreed with you.
Anything else I can answer for you, Ankit?
No, thanks a lot, Kubet. As of
Thank you.
now, yeah, it was a
No,
great
thank you.
talking to you. Finally, after so long.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you
Um,
so much. Thank you for having joined
Thank
in,
you.
Ankit.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Well, that was me giving you lots of logic of why I personally feel that at this point of time it may not be a good idea to sort of land on on these shores. But I also said that this is a decision that you have to make. You have to be sensible as to what you want to do. I'm going to bring in my next guest, Mr. Rahul. He's been waiting for quite some time. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Rahul, your microphone. Your microphone.
Hi,
Okay.
am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible now. How are you, Rahul?
I am all well.
I
Thank
can
you,
see
first of all, Kuber,
I can see a
for.
lot of light behind you, so I'm assuming you're in Canada.
Yes, I am in Canada.
All right, perfect. Which part of Canada are you in?
I am in Toronto. I'm staying near Albion Mall, Etobicoke area.
Oh, you're in Etobicoke. Okay, very nice. And how long have you been here now?
So I landed here on 5th of March.
Oh, okay. All right. 5th of
And
March. Go
uh,
on.
just for the first week, I completed the formalities. I took my SIN number. I opened my bank account. I took my mobile number. I opened this library account, and start. And as far as I reached on 15th of March, I started listening the news like everything is closing down. Government is advising to close down all the non-essential things. So after 15th of March to 25th of March, I was not very much ready to accept all this news, and I was a little bit depressed, like what to do next, because I started applying some of the jobs, and I started listening a lot many negative news about the current situation, what is happening in Canada and across the globe. Uh, the fact is, the situation will remain here. I was reading some articles about that, about some scholarly articles about this present situation. And what I came to know about the situation is, even if this virus may go next couple of months,
Okay.
it won't be eradicated completely. And the effects may remain with us for next 1 to 2 years at least. So
Okay.
we have to, uh, you know, uh, find a new way of life, a new normal way of life.
Okay.
So what I have started doing is I have started working on my resume. And I have enrolled for some of the certifications. I am a banker by profession. I was working in a bank in India and
Okay.
trying to find the similar opportunities here also in Canada.
Okay.
So the fact is very well known that finding a job is not very much easy in this present scenario, and finding a survival job is also tough given the labor market situation,
Sure.
and the given the situation that may also cause some health effects on you. So even if you can take a Walmart job, and it may risk to your health.
Of course.
So I am not considering that options, and I have enrolled for some of the certifications, and I'm trying to build my resume more strong. I'm trying to build my skills, which are more relevant in Canada, and just waiting for the good time to happen. I know it's difficult to a good time to come very soon,
Yeah.
but yes, hope is the only thing that is
Yeah.
there with us.
Absolutely. Tell me where I mean, so you said you're living in Etobicoke. Is this a rented apartment? I mean, what
So I am
exactly is
living in an apartment, which is a shared apartment. I'm sharing with a couple and a girl, a college-going girl.
okay?
So it's a 3 BHK setup in which I am occupying a one room.
Okay. All right. So you're comfortable in your accommodation. So was it easy for you to find your accommodation?
So I have some ties in Canada. My real sister stays here. Was a Canadian citizenship holder, but now she's staying in US. So she did some groundwork for me for this place.
Okay. All right. So what would your personal uh, opinion, or what would be your personal suggestion to people who still haven't arrived in Canada?
Kuber, I cannot agree more with each and every statement you gave in this video. I would advise them, if you have not left your job, please hang on, please do your job. If you've already decided and you have already put in your papers and you have already left your job, or you are mentally even though prepared to come to Canada, I would suggest, if you can hold on for at least next 2 months in India or whatever the country, your home country, just be there, observe the situation. As the expenditures are very high as compared to your home country here, and further you are not having a support, a family support, friend support, the system which keeps on encouraging you, it's not with you here in Canada. So I would suggest to be where you are, observe the situation for next 2 months, and then decide what you want to do. Then decide what you want to do.
Sure, no, I agree with that as well. Rahul, thank you so much. Thank you for having joined in. I really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best. I hope you find very quickly what you're looking for. And that's a good idea, changing or rather improving your skill sets, making your resume stronger, because then you're more prepared when things are getting normalizing again.
Thank you. Thank you, Gulesh.
Thank you. All right. So that was Rahul, again, reinforcing the same kind of logic, same kind of reasoning as to why we are still saying, if you haven't made the plunge yet, think about it again. I'm going to bring in Mariam here. Okay. Hi, Mariam. Can you hear me?
Hello there.
I'm not sure what I'm looking at, but yeah, hi.
Me?
I mean, I can definitely hear you, but I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
Wait a minute, it's a table.
Okay, we are looking at a table.
Let me flip my camera.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay, all right. But for starters, you can just turn the camera in your hand just like this, and sort of do that for a time.
That would be difficult. Then I would not be
You will
able
not
to
be able to
see.
see me. Okay, all right, perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So, tell me, where are you in Canada, Mariam? Are you?
Okay,
Oh,
now
there we
I'm-
see you. Yeah, there we see you. Finally. Okay. So, are you in Canada, Mariam? Are you still
Yes,
not here?
we have been in Canada for like 2 months.
2
We
months?
we landed on 14th February, me and my husband.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're the second person today who landed on 14th of February. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys, what's this with 14th of Feb and landing in Canada? Did you choose the date sort of, or specifically?
Well,
let's fly on 14th?
it was because that we got the cheapest tickets on that day.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So tell me, which part of Canada are you in?
I'm in Mississauga.
You are in Mississauga, and was it did you have a reason why you wanted to kind of come to Toronto GTA, or sort of because everybody wants to come to Toronto GTA, that was the reason you decided to come this side?
Actually, it was because of the opportunities, and we had some distant relatives over here. And before coming over here, we had a relative over here in Mississauga, and we told them to arrange some kind of accommodation for us. They before landing, they arranged an apartment for us. Obviously, we paid for that from Pakistan, and apart from that, they offered us to live with them for initial days, but
I'm not judging your relatives.
we refused that. So it was better to live in our own apartment from the day one.
Okay.
So
you said you've come from Pakistan?
Yeah.
Which part of Pakistan are you from?
Lahore.
Lahore, okay. जिनने लाहौर नहीं देखा वो तो जमया ही नहीं.
Yeah, that's true.
So, what has been your experience so far? So, first of all, I mean, were you a Canadian Experience class, PNP?
No, it was FSW, Federal Skilled Worker.
Okay, all right. And how long did it take you to prepare for your journey to Canada? When I'm saying how long did you take, I mean, when did you get your PR approved?
It approved in December 20th.
Okay.
And
so you made the decision pretty quickly then to sort of, because some people sort of wait for 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah. I got my visa stamped on January, on the first week of January. And that was my brother who insisted me to do it as soon as possible, because there was some political situation going on between Iran and USA at that time in the start of the January, and there was Corona thing as well. So he was like, just pack your bags and just leave Pakistan as soon as possible.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So now that you have come here since 14th of Feb, what kind of background are you from? I mean, what kind of industry, business, profession are you from?
Okay, I was a lecturer over there in university. I was teaching business courses, BBA and MBA students, and my husband was in accounts department, accounts and finance.
All right.
But now, after coming to Canada, I already knew that I have to switch my career. It would be very difficult to continue teaching over here.
Have you tried to figure out what you can do to sort of continue with your profession? Because lots of people want to know that, right? I mean, so if you are a teacher, you are a lecturer, if you were to practice the same profession in Canada, what do you need to do?
You have to take a certification. It's a very long and hectic process. Meanwhile, you have to take some kind of odd jobs or entry level jobs,
Okay.
and while you are working on your certification, and once you get the certification, then you can jump into teaching
Okay.
field, whatever level it is. It's secondary level, post secondary level, or whatever level it is.
Okay. And you decided to move from that occupation now?
Yeah, I have decided to move from my occupation because after coming to Canada in the first week, we did all our processes like getting the SIN number, getting PR cards, not the PR cards, but apart from that, every other thing was sorted out in the first week.
Okay.
And then we consulted the immigrant services over here, like
Okay.
there is Peel region. Those are assisting very much to the new immigrants, and they told we had meetings with them. And for accounting, for my husband, there is a vast area of improvement, vast area of jobs. We registered ourselves in COPR courses as well. Meanwhile, we were looking for some more jobs so that we can do those courses. And in those courses, I started the course, but I was not able to finish it because of this corona thing. And in that, I got an idea that project management is a very, very good field, because I'm a person from business background. So for me, project management is a very good field. And the other field that I am looking at is IT industry.
Okay.
My degree is actually it's masters in business and information technology. So, and I was teaching business courses and computer courses as well back over there. So I am interested in both of them, and I am now trying to do some online courses meanwhile sitting at home.
Okay.
And my husband has taken an odd job at Amazon, so that we can run the monthly
Sure.
expenses.
Sure. So
And
let me ask you then, now that you have seen this last 2 or 3 months in Canada, so do you have children?
no, I'm expecting. That's why I'm
No.
not doing the job.
Mashallah, congratulations. Congratulations. Well,
Thank you
nice.
so much.
Okay. What would your personal, I mean, so your brother told you pack your bags, come to Canada immediately because of, expected political scenarios outside of Canada. But now that you have been here for 2 months, what would you, in your understanding of how things are around you, what would your suggestion or advice be to people who still haven't landed yet?
Well, I think so that everyone is saying some negative things, or they are a bit disappointed right now. Let's be honest that if the situation would have been normal, it will take 2 to 3 months to find a job over here in Canada. Sometimes entry level job or an odd job takes 1 to 2 months to find it. Okay, because you don't have any commute. You have to look for a job that is nearby, that is quite near to you, or you can easily travel through bus or stuff like that. So it is difficult. But in this corona thing, I think so there were some opportunities for us. We were not doing entry level jobs back in Pakistan. We were doing some pretty good jobs. But we were mentally prepared from Pakistan that what type of job is offered initially, we are going to take up that offer, and then we are going to do some courses. And this is not because that the corona thing that has let us change our mindset. No,
Okay.
when we landed, the things were pretty normal over here. So we were applying in both the jobs. We were applying. I was applying in supply teacher as well, because supply teacher doesn't require some areas. It doesn't require any experience. It doesn't require any certification.
Okay.
So I was applying for that as well. I was applying for odd jobs as well. I was applying for customer services representative or whatever these things.
No, but what I'm trying to
Whether
ask you is that now that you have seen for the last 2 months, the month of April and March, ever since the coronavirus pandemic has hit Canadian shores and the life has basically changed. Now, if somebody was going to ask you and say, "Okay, Mariam, I'm planning to fly to Canada end of this month, end of April," do you suggest that the person should come, not come?
No. There are two reasons. First of all, they should not come immediately. I believe that in coming 2 months, one should not travel at all.
Okay.
First and foremost reason is your own health. Okay, and when you come over here, you have to be in isolation for like 14 days. And when initially you come in a new country, The environment is different. Back in India, Pakistan, we have different type of lifestyle. The lifestyle is where we have so many people around us all the time. Even in this corona thing, we have so much, we have a large families over there back in our countries. So when you come over here, you will be alone. Even with you are with your spouse, you have to be confined yourself in a room or in an apartment for 14 days, and then you will have to search a job, which is now difficult. Of course, it is very difficult even to get an entry level job over here. So I believe that for 2 months, at least for 2 months, let the things settle down, and then one should plan to travel.
Well, I absolutely agree with you on that one. Mariam, thank you so much for having joined in,
Thank
and
you so much.
wish you all the best, and stay safe. And obviously, since you're expecting, I wish you all the best. May all of you stay healthy and be healthy.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank you so much. I took your services.
Oh, you
I
did?
took
Okay.
your
All right.
services. Yeah.
Thank you for taking our services.
I took your online services. That's why I would like to tell you that. And thank you so much because of your channel, because of Dream Abroad, Shitanshu's videos. It has been a great journey for me. I had no idea, no clue whatsoever about PR. And by watching your videos, Dream Abroad's video, I was able to, I am in this place right now. And
Excellent.
whatever the situation is, I'm happy to be here, and inshallah I believe that things will work out in some
They will. They will.
months, and yeah, we'll have a meetup as
Okay.
well.
Of course.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you for having joined in. Thank you. Right. So that was Mariam. Okay. And well, somebody came online and actually said that they used our services and were happy with that. Thank God for that. At least, we have some positive feedback. So, okay, I am just going to post a link for some of you who might want to join in on this live session. I'm looking for 1 or 2 people who are COPR holders. If you have a COPR, you have an approved visa, you have a PR visa, and you are, looking to arrive in Canada, travel to Canada, then I would like you to come online today and sort of, talk to us, tell us what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what sort of, you're going through, and I will bring you on. Meanwhile, I'm going to take one question which has been coming up again and again, and I will just sort of, give me a moment, let me just figure out where that question went. Hold on. Okay, so, right, this is the question. So, Afrin said, one of your posts mentioned raising a CSE for COPR extension only, mentioning inability to travel due to COVID. Is there really any necessity to attach any LOE, as Pawan Guru has said? Now, I don't see. Okay, all right. So, first of all, CIC has made provisions for people who have a COPR. They have made a provision for people who have, who have received approved COPRs, and they have asked those people that if you cannot travel at this point of time, raise a web form and let them know that you cannot travel. Okay, try and raise the web form within, or rather, just closer to when your visa is expiring. Okay, because if your visa still hasn't expired, if there is some time for you to sort of go and everything normalizes, then you can travel. Then without raising a web form, without informing anybody, if your visa is travel, you can travel to Canada. There is no problem with it. But for example, if your visa is expiring next week, then inform IRCC, let them know that your visa is expiring and that you cannot travel due to the COVID restrictions. You do not need to give any detailed explanation. Just saying that I cannot travel right now because of the COVID scenario is good enough. That's fine. No problem with that. Okay. And at a time later in future, when everything or other things normalizes, things settle down, and at that point of time, you're ready to travel and you wish to travel at that point of time, then you can again inform IRCC that you are now ready to travel and you wish to travel. IRCC will reopen your application. And the reason to reopen the application is that because they need to give you an extension, they need to check your inadmissibilities again. And in most cases, they may, I'm not saying they will, they may, either they can automatically give you an extension of your medicals and thereby, automatically give you an extension of your COPR. They will need to cancel your COPR. They will need to reissue your visa. So in order to do that, they have to reopen your application. It cannot just be done, automatically. So you will need to send your passports back to them. You will need to send your COPR back to them. They will cancel the COPR, reissue the visas. either with an automatic extension of your medicals, or if they cannot extend your medicals automatically, they will ask you to redo your medical, and therefore, and in some cases they might even ask you to get a new PCC as well. So these are just what we assume will happen, and at any point of time when you're ready to travel, then you should let them know at least 6 to 10 weeks before you're ready, before you're thinking of traveling. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I assume that is the amount of time they will take, okay, for reopening your application, reissuing your visas, and sending it back to you. So it might take that much time, because keep in mind that there will be severe backlog. There will be lots of people asking for extensions. So your application can sort of get stuck between the timelines. So give yourself at least 6 to 8 weeks for them to process it and resend it back to you. So be aware, it's not a problem that if your visa is expiring, it's not a problem. You can ask for extension. As of right now, just let them know that you can't travel. And when you're ready to travel, let them know again that now you're ready to travel. They have already said they will extend. They've already said that they will not refuse any application for non-compliance. They've already said it. It's already been clearly mentioned. So you don't have to worry. There is no detailed explanation required. Just simply stating that you cannot travel because of COVID restrictions is good enough. All right. I hope that answers that question. And where did we go? Okay. I'm going to take my next caller on. Okay. We have, okay. Quite a few people have come in. That's nice. Wait a moment. Let me bring you guys in. But before I bring you guys in, let me just take off that. Oh, okay. All right. So I'm bringing in Mr. Hassan. Let's see what Hassan has to say. Hello, Hassan. How are you? Hassan,
Hi,
can you hear me?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you in Canada? Are you not in Canada? Are you outside? Where are you right now?
I'm in Pakistan.
You're in Pakistan. Okay.
Lahore.
And you have, very nice. And you have your COPR approved?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you thinking? When were you planning to travel? When does it expire? What is the condition? Where were you planning to come?
It will expire on the 19th of October.
Okay, so you have quite some time to go. So what were you planning? Were you planning to travel immediately? Were you planning to sort of take your time? Where were you planning to come to?
I'm pretty confused right now. Some of my relatives say, my in-laws say that you should wait for things to settle down, and I think that we don't know when things will settle down.
Of course.
Probably same over here and same over there.
Sure.
So I'm planning to fly in June.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay. Have you already booked your tickets?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because I think the flight load will also exceed. The prices will go up when obviously a lot of people are staying in Pakistan. They have to travel in different places, and due to restricted flights, a lot of people are stuck over here.
I understand, of course.
So I think that the prices will go up once the things get normal. I just want to be there before that. Don't want to spend all my money on flights.
Okay, you don't want to spend all your money on flights. But what about you coming to Canada and not being able to do anything and then spending all your money in Canada before you could even look for a job or actually, get on with your life?
I'm a risk taker.
Okay, you're one of the risk takers. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, fair enough. Where in Canada were you planning to come to?
I'm planning to go somewhere around Toronto. Not sure right now.
Okay. But your in-laws are telling you not to travel.
Not now.
Okay, not now.
They're asking me to delay till August.
And your in-laws are in Canada?
Still, no, they're in Lahore as well.
Okay, they're in Lahore as well. Okay, so you've decided you're going to take a risk and come to Canada in the month of June.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else I can do?
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hassan, for joining in. Appreciate it, man.
Hassan, you're welcome.
Okay, next I am bringing on with me is Mr. Siddharth. Let's see what Siddharth has to say. Hello, Siddharth. How are you?
Hey, Kuber. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Are you in Canada? Are you not in
No,
Canada?
no. I was one of the lucky / unlucky ones who just missed it
Missed what?
because, yeah, because my flights were booked for March 18th,
Oh,
and yeah.
okay, that sucks.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at the bright side of things, considering I could have just came over there. I would have just come over there and been stuck the entire time. So I guess it's good to be here at present.
Okay, where exactly are you? Are you in India?
I'm from Chennai, India. I got my COPR back in November. Me and my wife were supposed to travel.
Okay.
The only reason we put it off till March was because we decided, let the winter subside and probably we can fly after that. So
Okay.
I had my ticket booked. I had my ticket booked for March. So that's the entire thing here.
When does your COPR expire, Siddharth?
My COPR expired on April 2nd. I actually tried. Yeah.
Okay, so it's already expired. Did you inform IRCC that it's expired?
Done. I had actually raised 3 web queries, but I got standard responses about the COVID-19 situation. I believe that's the thing they could give, because considering their immigration offices are also not properly functioning right now. So I just have to wait for a proper response. See, but I got a lot of positive comments from your posts. Actually, following your page thoroughly. The reason being that you had actually assured us that we'd probably get an extension or whatever it is. So I am looking on the bright side of things. But
the assurance doesn't come from me. The assurance comes from IRCC.
Okay. But at least someone out there is being optimistic and giving hope to such people like us. So yeah, I'm one of those people who got stuck over there. So the thing right now, what I actually had a query in my mind is something that I'm not clear about is there a timeline to let IRCC know that, hey, I'm ready to travel again as such? Because my hope is that I can hopefully get an extension and fly by August or something if things subside. If, again, this is an if.
Yeah, so the timeline is my personal opinion. The timeline hasn't been specified by IRCC. So this is what will happen. When you are ready to travel, you need to let them know. Once you will let them know, they will ask you to send your COPR and PR visa back to them, passports back to CIC. So they will cancel your old COPR, you cancel your old visa, and they will have to reissue a new one and send it back to you. Now, in order for them to do that, obviously your medicals have to be valid. So IRCC may automatically give you an extension in the medicals, or they may ask you to redo your medicals. In either of the two conditions, they will then be able to give you an extended validity for your new visa, for your new COPR. Now, this process could take anywhere from, as I said, 6 to 10 weeks. Okay, so you have to be aware that it may take. Again, this is my opinion, because and my opinion is purely based on the time it takes. Even in the normal circumstances, if you were to send your passport, so for example, you've got your PPR mail today, and if you were to send your passport for visa stamping, it will take anywhere from 10 to 20 days, right? That they take the time.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But now in this case, where the visa has to be cancelled, reissued, and for them to make a decision, they may ask you to redo your medicals. Now, if they are going to ask you to redo your medicals, then you get an appointment, get your medicals, send them a copy of the medicals. Then based on that, they will reissue. And keeping in mind that there may be a backlog for lots of people who will be asking for a similar service, and they will have normal other application processes ongoing at that same time. So keeping in mind all those things, definitely give yourself at least 6 weeks of process time for this whole thing to happen.
So in your opinion, if I want to fly by August, I should let them know probably by May or something like that I'm ready to travel.
You can let them know, but you see, you have to understand, if you tell them in May you're ready to travel, is it feasible? It is not, right?
Yeah,
because we all know that it is not. So you'll have to tell them when it is actually feasible to travel. At that point of time, then they will take it forward. Because as of right now, we all know extension is already. Lockdowns have already been extended.
Yeah.
In India, and to be very honest, I personally feel things do not look like they're going to normalize anytime before June. In Ontario, already they have cancelled all public events until the end of June. So that is already giving an indication that they are expecting things to sort of not normalize anytime soon. So even if you tell them in the month of June I'm ready to travel, you're not going to get a response back because they know you cannot travel right now.
See, that's the predicament I'm in. Me and my wife are one of the people who left our jobs and were ready to travel, and We had made all our preparations.
Absolutely, no. Trust me. And one of the reasons for doing today's video is for somebody like you, right? Because I absolutely understand that somebody in your position, how you can feel. And trust me, the reason why I know, because it's very close to home. My own son, who's 26 years or 25 years or 26 years. Shit. Okay, I'm sorry. So he oh boy, I hope he's not watching because he's going to kill me because I don't remember his age. So he got through to Alberta PNP, and he got his COPR, and he was ready to travel. He resigned from his job. He gave up his accommodation, and and this happened. I told him, don't travel, and he said, it's easy for you to say not to travel. What am I going to do? I mean, I said, well, enjoy it, consider it as a holiday, but take an online course.
True.
So I know how it feels because it's very, very close to home, because my son obviously will keep calling me every hour of the day, and so now should I come? Now should I do this? Now can I do this? Now can I do this? No, just stay put, man. Just stay put. So as much as it must have created a big reason for anxiety and problems and frustrations for you, trust me, this was the best decision you made, not to travel. Even after CIC announced exemptions that if your COPR was issued before the 18th, you could travel. Trust me, making that decision of not traveling right now is the best thing you did, because as lots of other people spoke earlier and you heard them, right? Nobody can actually do anything right now. So you just come here and spend 55 times more for everything. No, actually not 55. 55 times is just the exchange rate, but keep in mind that there are a lot of things which are more expensive here than they are in India, right? So it doesn't make sense. So regardless of whatever situation you might be in, I'm not saying I can understand every single situation or I can put a comparison to it, but trust me, in some way or the other, maybe there is a reason why you were meant to be where you are.
No, to be honest, my wife was crushed, but it was one of your posts. I had to read out your post to her saying, see, you have listed out point by point as to why you are not supposed to travel right now and why it will not be a good decision to travel right now. So that helped a lot. Trust me when I say this.
I'm so happy that at least that post, I'm so happy that post made a difference to at least one person out there. I don't know how many it made to, but if I can hear feedback from somebody like you, again, you see, I have no personal objective, no personal motivation in telling people not to come. I mean, what is it going to do for me? I mean, do I get into the front of the queue in Walmart because you are not going to be here, kind of a thing? No, I don't have any personal benefit in it. I'm just giving you a perspective of being here and of being with people who are in similar situations. And if I can help somebody avoid that level of anxiety or avoid that level of problems and frustrations by coming here versus being where you are, you would rather be there. Because I'll give you another example. There are so many people who have families. When I'm saying family, your parents, your siblings, and some people were traveling without their spouses because they applied for spouse unaccompanied. Now, had you traveled, then staying away from your family, and both sides you're worried what is happening with your parents are worried what's happening with you. If your wife or your spouse is not with you, then again both sides are always worried. Your children are on the other side, again you're worried, and you're spending big portion of your day on a video call with your family.
True.
Okay? Just trying to figure out if everything is fine, everybody's fine, are you taking care, what did you cook, what did you make, what are the children doing, what is Appa doing, what is Amma doing. Instead, be with them, man, and just make sure they're better, they're taken care of, children are taken care of, or I mean, whatever your family members or whoever you can support. So that's the only reason. And God willing, and fingers crossed, whenever things will get better, Canada, as I said, is not going anywhere. And you already have your COPR, you already have your approval, you already know that it's in the bag. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you so much for that, Kuber.
No, thank you. Thank you for having joined in. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Okay, that was Siddharth. Again, another eye opener there. My next guest I'm bringing is Mr. Mikhail. Mikhail, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
To the front of the queue in Walmart because you are a lot of echo there. Can you shut the volume? Are you listening to this?
I was actually watching your own videos. So I was just paused right now.
Okay, perfect. Mikhail, how are you? Where are you right now?
I'm in India right now.
Which part of India are you in?
I'm in Bombay.
Okay, and Bombay. I just saw some very concerning videos this morning, man. What's happening down there?
Yes. Well, we were under a lockdown till the 14th, which is today in India,
And it's
and
extended, right?
it got extended without any kind of announcement. It looks like for people who were like hoping it to open up. So a lot of people like kind of crowded up at like bus stations and places. One specific place in Bandra around the afternoon, and that caused like a little panic and stuff.
Okay, but you guys are safe. Everything okay there?
Yeah, so far so good.
Very good. So tell me about yourself. So you have your COPR approved?
Yeah.
Okay, and what
We
were
got
you
on the 25th of December.
Okay, and what were you planning? What were you thinking? Tell me.
Well, we had our flights booked for the 9th of April.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, actually, I don't think about it as like a negative thing, because it's good, because the news in India and all, like the lockdown and all, started coming in by like the 22nd of March, which gave us at least a buffer time of about like 10 days, 15 days to kind of like understand, sense the situation, and then kind of like get comfortable with the idea that, it makes sense not to go. And one of the contributing factors was your post, where normally you are like forever hopeful, but on that particular post you were like, do not come to Canada. I'm just like, wait a minute, if Kuber is saying do not come to Canada, there's definitely some merit in it.
Okay. No, I thank you, Mikhail, for saying. You see, but even then, I'm forever hopeful. Even if I'm saying do not come to Canada, I'm not saying Canada is shutting doors on you, right? I mean, there's still hope there at the end of it. And and thank you that if you took note of it, and if it made any difference in your decision making process, because as I was just explaining earlier, right? I mean, I don't have any personal benefit in telling people not to come. It is just that it sort of makes a big difference for a lot of people who are not coming as of right now, because if you're coming here, you're not going to be able to do anything anyways.
Right.
So
no, I think in a situation like this, normally people look for like credibility, and with the amount of noise that's out there on the web or on the TV channels and stuff, it's like you need like constructive feedback, and I thought your post was like very constructive in the whole piece.
Thank you. Where exactly were you planning to come to Canada? I mean, were you looking to go to Toronto, Vancouver? Which part of Canada were you planning to come to?
We're planning to come down to Toronto.
Okay. What occupation? I mean, what background are you from?
So I'm from a design background. I work in the IT sector as a product designer. We basically like design apps and websites and stuff like that.
Okay, very nice. And what do you think is happening with your field of work? Did you already research what's happening in Canada in that field?
Frankly, since the time that we kind of made up our mind that it's not a safe time to go right now, I didn't think it was very putting my time best to use to try to figure out like, let's get me jobs and stuff over there. Because I think even the travel part was itself, which was like kind of the travel, the logistics, coming in, settling in over there, and then the last part would have been like figuring out the job. And when I saw there were so many problems with this, I kind of put that on a hold. But right now, prior to coming, IT in general is like a booming sector, and there were a couple of companies which had kind of like listed down, which I was almost going to start my conversations with, but yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So I just wanted, before I sort of log out with you, you said you were booked for 10th of April or 9th of April?
9th of April, yeah.
So when you changed your flights, were you able to get refund or were you able to sort of get credit back? How was your experience with changing your flights?
So there are, I mean, like when you go for a flight, there are normally two things which normally the airlines provide you. One is like rescheduling, and the other is a credit note.
Yeah.
Which in both the cases require like the airlines to provide you support, right? Like either you reschedule it, for which you need a date. We didn't have any date in mind. And then for a credit note, it's the same thing. Like we don't know how the airline business is doing right now. So we went with an option which was canceling our tickets. And there's a cancellation charge of I think like 11 grand per ticket. So I was coming down with my wife, but we thought like getting the money back would be a much better option rather than leaving things high and dry.
Okay,
so
but
I'm still awaiting that money.
So your experience of getting it done was fair and simple, or were you sort of sent pillar to post getting it done?
No, it was pretty simple, but that's because we booked our tickets through an agent, so he was quite smart about it.
Okay, all right, perfect. So I just wanted to know, because some people have been facing lots of problems trying to get the money refunded or tickets changed. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Mikhail.
I had a quick question. Sorry. We were just wondering that, looking at everything that we've been hearing on the call, it absolutely makes sense to kind of take sense of the situation and then come down. But how do you rate like a soft landing? Because I mean, do you have any thoughts about like soft landing? Because our visa kind of like expires by June 20th. I know like June is still a month, even we would not want to come down in. But do you think it still makes sense at some time to come down for a soft landing and go back? Because this thing might take like a couple of years to kind of settle in.
Okay, soft landing. What are my thoughts about soft landing? Good question. Very good question, Mikhail. I might actually not even addressed it had you not brought it to my mind. Okay, if you are to come to Canada now, because your COPR was issued before or on the 18th of March, you can travel to Canada. You would have to self-isolate yourself. So 14 days, you can't do nothing.
Wait, can I just like add a clause on it? What I mean is like what we are hoping is like, we don't think it will be safe to travel by the time our visa expires. So we are pretty much in for putting a web form and getting an extension. But do you think like it makes sense to get a soft landing in this year is what I mean more importantly? I'm just giving you information.
Fair enough. I'll cover both the aspects because again, it's not only your question. There are another 200 people who are also watching. So for example, if you're thinking of doing a soft landing now, say in the month of April, in the month of May, even in the month of June for that matter, depending on how situation is, you'll have to be aware that first you'll have to self-isolate yourself on arrival in Canada for 14 days. So that's the minimum mandatory self-isolation period. In this period, you cannot get anything done. Your SIM card, your bank account, your phone number, your health cards, anything, you cannot get it done, right? Second thing would be, so let's say after 14 days, you spend 14 days and then you can get all these things done, subject to the fact that they are still open. For example, Service Canada offices are already closed. They are accepting SIN number requests only online. So depending on which section, which department, what work you need to get done, what is open, what is not considered essential, from there on, you will then have to fly back. And again, now, which country are you flying back to? Are the flights operating, not operating? And when you reach back to that country, what are the restrictions applied by that country? Most of the countries have also now applied self-isolation, not only self-isolation, mandatory isolation or mandatory quarantine processes as well. So you're looking for a very harrowing and a very disturbing travel experience if you were to think about doing soft landing at this point of time, let's say in this month, next month, or even in the month of June, because at least that's how far we can see based on the scenario. Now, to answer, Mikhail, your question specifically, I would suggest, yes, doing that if it's a possibility. If you have a job, if you have a business, if you have an ongoing occupation supporting you, your family back home, whichever country you come from, then yes, you may consider doing a soft landing this year, anytime when it is safe to do so. And then depending on how things are settling down across the world, in Canada, of course, because it's all over the news anyways, at that point of time, you can then obviously decide to come back at a time when things are more in control, settled down, and things are reviving up. Yes, I would absolutely suggest that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kuber.
Thank you. Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you for joining and thank you for asking that very interesting question.
Thank you.
Right, so that was Mikhail. We still have quite a few people here. I'm going to bring Kaushiki on up next. Hi, Kaushiki, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good. Thanks for connecting me. How are you?
Thanks for joining in. I'm perfectly fine.
I've been waiting since long.
See, as long as I was not coughing, that basically means I'm all right.
Yeah, right.
Tell me, how have you been? Where are you? What exactly is your status?
I'm from Gurgaon, India, and I'm still in India. My COPR is expiring on 19th of April, just few days to go.
Okay.
So we had our flight on 1st of April, which of course we canceled it, but we were quite lucky enough to take the decision on time because I think the earlier when actually that's a long story, like I booked my flight to Seoul and the things got worse, then I rerouted it through London, again the things got worse in London, so I again rerouted a lot of things, but finally on 15th of March we decided that let's not travel because I have a kid as well and we can't take risk of life. So we just cancelled our Airbnb booking for a month and the air travel and everything, and we are back here.
Wow! So so after having done so many different things, you should actually try becoming a travel agent now.
I think so. I tried all the best ways.
Yeah, you've got all the experiences on how to route, how to sort of land in Canada in the best possible way. But tell me, with all this routing and all that you did or rerouting that you did you lose money? Did you sort of have to pay lots of additional fee for scheduling again or rescheduling rather?
No, so I was lucky enough to buy the tickets from the Delta website itself, not through some third party.
Okay.
So they were kind enough to, and then my brother who is in US, he booked the tickets, so I think it was more easier for them to connect directly to them.
Okay.
So we got all the refund once the CEO of Airbnb announced that they'll be refunding all the amounts. So I just called up and got that done on time. When Delta announced, then we called up. So things were fine. I mean, thankfully, I did not have to face any losses in Airbnb and tickets.
Okay, excellent. And have you already informed IRCC that your visa is expired and that you...
Yeah, so I have already raised a web form in around March 15th when I took that decision not to travel. I'm not sure if I have to raise it again because I see on the website that if you are near to your expiry and you still cannot travel, you can inform. So I think I'll just raise a web form in a day or two again, just to inform that I'm still not able to travel because of lockdown.
Yeah, well, if you already informed them once, you don't need to inform them again. I mean, or if you already told them that your visa was expiring and you couldn't travel, then that's absolutely fine. At a time when you're ready to travel, give yourself at least 6 weeks and then do inform them again. At that point of time, they will guide you as to what has to be done with your process.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right. Kaushiki, thank you so much for joining in. Appreciate it. Stay safe.
And one thing I would just like to convey everybody, because I had been part of many WhatsApp group where people are, very depressed, and because I had been lucky that I took my resignation back on time because, I was working till 31st day and my flight was on 1st. So I had a time period, just, perk of working till last date. So, but I would suggest that even if the people who have not, as you said, that, life is quite simple in India, because even if you don't have job, you have a house, you have your parents and everything. So you still can. Now, life in Canada is 50 times more than that costlier. So I think people should not panic. Even if you don't have a job, you can better survive here than to risk your life and go to Canada. And I think IRCC will be kind enough to understand this is a worldwide situation.
They already are. They've already made the provisions. They've already sort of made the announcement that they will sort of make the adjustment.
Right. So I think we should just pray that this pandemic ends all over the world and we can travel. That's more important.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kaushiki. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay. We still have quite a few people here. Okay, let me take as many as possible. We can, because I only have 20 more minutes to go. Oh, wow. Oh, boy, we have been online for 1 hour and 38 minutes, man. Come on. That's awesome. Okay. And so many of you have still stayed tuned in, which is even better, because when I see the numbers of people who are online, that going down, then I know, okay, people are not interested and we should log out then. But amazing that so many of you are still here. Okay, I'm going to bring in Mr. Praveen. Praveen, how are you?
I'm doing great, Kubir. How are you?
All this while you were, you were not brought online, and I could still see that I could see you stretching, and I could see you walking around and all. Are you all right? Everything okay?
Oh yeah, everything is okay, Kubir. And I'm from US, and I just wanted to come straight to the point. Like I see like a lot of people are waiting for your help. I just wanted to.
Please come to the point. That's the best thing to do. Let's come. Let's go to the
yes, point. Yes. So my COPR is ending on April 30th. So I already did my research like with IRCC, and I got a generic reply, and I connected to one of my immigration lawyer in Canada. Like she tried to help me. So, and I also got a lot of help from your portal. So that's awesome. I got your awesome responses. It's really helpful for the people that you're serving to.
Thank you.
So because like I understand back in India, they have a restriction. So they can put up that travel restrictions in place so that they cannot travel. Being I'm from Florida, United States, so there is no land restrictions between these two countries. So I'm a little worried like what needs to be done, because raising a web form I already raised once. And what is the exact reason I have to keep? Because like I don't want to travel because it's a pandemic situation. So I'm a little worried about that situation.
You want to know what is the exact reason you need to give?
Yes.
Well, you can simply say that you are unable to travel, or you don't wish to travel due to ongoing COVID restrictions or pandemic scenario, and you would like to sort of defer your travel plans. That's it.
Yes.
You see, it's understood what is happening. I mean, I'm sure nobody on the planet right now is not aware of what's happening. Okay. There is no requirement to give detailed explanation of I'm here and this is the reason that you can't travel. Just let them know that you cannot travel due to ongoing restrictions, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's really true. So, but I also made my decision to not to travel like to 99%, but at 1% I kept it open and to see like what is the last moment changes. If I wanted to do, I can do it. So yeah, that's it. I don't want it to prolong this discussion. So
Okay.
yeah,
No,
thank
no,
you very much
we
for
don't.
your
We
help.
don't have. I just want to ask you one question. You said you are in US. What are you on H1B? Are you on?
Yes, I'm on a H1B. I'm working in US since 10 years, and
Okay.
I got an excellent opportunity to migrate to Canada. So my plans are like I wanted to come to Canada by end of this year and settle in Toronto with a
Okay.
good opportunity. I already have an opportunity in place, so I thought of like moving. So that was currently on hold right now.
Okay. All right. Well, all I can say is stay safe because we're seeing lots of worrisome pictures from Florida, and I hope you're not going to the beach.
Yeah.
And
No.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you for having joined me.
Thank you, Kuber.
Okay, I have three more guests. I'm going to bring all three of them. And you know what? We'll bring all three of them together. Okay. Or Zohair, Aviral, and Puneet. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We have all four of you, but I will ask you one by one because I didn't want to sort of keep you waiting because I'm not going to bring in any more guests. So, first of all, Zohair, how are you, Zohair? Where are you right now?
Hey, Kuber. Hi. I'm based in Dallas, Texas.
Are you sitting by the pool?
Yes.
I mean, are you trying to make all of us jealous? The fact that you're sitting by the pool and all that?
It's a little cold out here, so I was trying to get used to the Canadian weather.
Okay, all right. Fair. Canada is pretty cold as well. I mean, most of it is still pretty chilly out there. So you are in Dallas right now, and what's your status?
So I'm on L1A.
Okay, and no, when I mean by status, I mean about Canada. I mean, you have your COPR.
So I have a COPR that expires on June 21st.
Okay.
So I was planning to do a soft landing, figure out. So I have two young kids. So we have a school requirement that has to come in. So we're planning to go there, figure out if the schools would take us, and then if they do, then great, we'll probably stay on. But then if not, then we'll probably head back to the US and then come back later.
Okay, so you're thinking of doing soft landing at some point of time, then, right?
Right.
What is your target destination in Canada?
Toronto. My brother lives there.
Wow, I mean, everybody. I mean, it's surprising that who all we spoke to today. I think about 90% of them were all Toronto or Toronto based or going to Toronto in some way or the other. So you said your brother lives there?
Right.
Is that the only reason you're going to Toronto, or you think the job opportunities are better in Toronto versus elsewhere?
It's a metropolis, and then brother is obviously a big factor.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, Puneet, how are you? Where are you right now, Puneet? Puneet, your microphone is off. Puneet is not listening. Okay, Aviral.
Hi, I'm in Siliguri. It's in India.
Okay, Puneet. Oh, you're in Siliguri. Siliguri is pretty decent. Okay, and you live there, or you're there on a holiday, or what exactly is happening there in Siliguri?
Yes. Yeah.
Puneet?
No, I do business here. I've got business here in Siliguri as well as in Delhi.
Okay. And what is your status for Canada? I mean, you have your COPR approved?
Yeah, the COPR is approved, and I was about to travel on April 22nd.
April 22nd.
And it's expiring on, right. And it is expiring on April 28th. So we've already raised a web form that we'll not be able to travel, and that's not an issue. We'll be traveling as late as possible.
Okay.
So that is not a concern. What we had planned was we had planned for a soft landing for about a month and a half or so, looking for business opportunities in Canada.
Okay.
And we had planned to visit 4 provinces in Canada. That is Manitoba, Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec as well. Okay. And the line of business which we were looking at was restaurants, banquets, caterings, and all that in those lines.
Wow, interesting.
But right now what we are concerned about is when do we go now? Because when we reach there, what survey are we going to do there? That's the major hurdle right now which we are facing.
I absolutely agree with you. It's looking difficult, and and looks like it is going to continue being a bit difficult as far as the business and the markets are concerned for some time to come. Okay, yeah. Aviral, what about you, Aviral? What status about Canada are you on?
Yeah, hi Kuber. So actually, I have my COPR and it's due to expire on 24th of September.
Oh,
and me and my wife, we were supposed to travel on April 4th.
Okay.
And so you were asking quite a few questions related to like if we face any trouble with our airlines. And so I think we had a flight tickets with British Airways, and they were very cooperative, and we got the complete refund.
Okay.
So that process was very smooth. But right now the only concern is like the job factor was not a concern for both of us, because the current company which we are working in here in India, I think they were offering us both a position over there in Canada as well.
Okay.
So the job factor was not a challenge for us initially, but now considering the situation, the only thing is like when we would be able to travel, considering that our COPR is expiring in September, and till June, July, even I'm not hopeful that things are going to get better.
Sure.
So,
well, that's pretty pretty sensible. I mean, in your understanding of things where you've reached, and so what you're planning to now sort of just come to Canada for a soft landing and return back?
actually, we have not planned anything as of now, and that was the prime reason I tuned in today to understand like if other people are also facing similar issues and what they are planning, and what are you suggesting to everyone who is right now in similar situation. So,
So let's
as of now,
get
no
a
plans
recap.
to.
Let's get a
Yeah.
recap of what you have understood so that I don't have to repeat it again.
So basically, yeah, you've since the time I've tuned in, like it's been more than like almost 40 minutes. So you have told a lot of people that it would be okay if you can do a soft landing, but obviously you cannot do it till June end, because in Ontario we've already seen that a lot of public meetings and everything has been postponed in June end. So keep a close eye on what the situation, how the situation pans out, and then probably take an informed decision after that. Like if the situation get better, you can probably do a soft landing and then go back. And if your COPR is like if you are in a similar situation like me, like whose COPR is like expiring in the, you can say, in the third quarter of the year, so probably just look out for the news around and just see if the situation gets better. Then you can probably, if there is a chance, you can probably travel if you have like arrangements over there in Canada, because you need to go for a 14-day quarantine as of now. So
Unbelievable, man. It looks like you were recording everything I was saying and then you're just repeating it. Thank you for having done that for me, Viral.
No problem.
So what was your destination to sort of, I mean, where were you planning?
So the destination was, we were planning to go to Mississauga.
Okay, so also Toronto GTA then.
Yes, Toronto GTA. We have one of our friends there. We were planning to go and stay over there in an Airbnb for the initial 10 days, and then probably look out for our permanent accommodation. As I said, job was not something which was like a priority item for us. So it was basically just to go over there and get the basic necessities, all the paperwork and everything, all the formalities, get those done and get a permanent residence. So that was our plan.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for having joined in, man, and thank you for having shared your part of the story. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Zohaib, are you back?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what is your plan now after having heard so many people saying or rather sharing their part of the story? What do you think? What are you thinking as in what do you want to do?
So, I mean, Kuber, it's anyone's guess with how the COVID situation is evolving day by day. But I believe it's flattening somewhere both in the US and Canada. Hopefully it stays that way. If it goes down, then we'll probably continue with our trip or as a soft landing in June.
Okay.
And based on how the situation is in Canada, and figure out if you have to stay or then or return.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Zohaib, and enjoy the dip in that pool. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. And by the way, just one quick full disclosure, I did use your services. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that positive feedback. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Right, Puneet sir, now it's only you and me. So tell me this business is something interesting. What do you also do butter chicken and dal makhani and that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cuisine,
it's a multi-cuisine restaurant here in Siliguri.
Okay.
And we have an ice cream chain in Delhi.
Okay. That's
so
good.
Right now, what we were planning.
I'll share an idea with you, Puneet, because I know at some point of time you might want to come to Canada and start this. I mean, obviously, current scenario is not looking very, very favorable, especially for food and beverage industry. But open mics are happening quite a lot in lots of places, and I think they're happening in Canada as well. I think there are a couple of places which are doing a reasonably decent job with open mics. I'm not sure what is your experience with that, but that is something which you should survey and maybe probably better it.
Definitely will do that as well. Thanks.
So what have you decided? What is your plan now after having listened to so many different people from their experiences?
As of now, what we are planning is we'll try to get to Canada as late as possible this year.
Okay.
Because and plus we have relatives there, so that is not an issue. All the 4 provinces, we've got close relatives and close friends. So but even staying is not an issue, and surveying with them is also not an issue.
Okay.
So they also have got a fair bit of idea, and they also want to pool in with the idea as well for venturing into business. So that is something which is sorted. What majorly concerns me was what is going to be the opportunity at that point of time when we land. How is the business scenario going to be at that point of time? So
that's a very
that
difficult
is slightly
one.
tricky there.
Yeah, no, fair enough. No, thank you so much. Thank you, Puneet. Thank you for having joined in. Appreciate it, man. Wish you all the best.
Yeah. Thanks. And one more thing, we used your premium services in October.
Okay.
And we got the COPR just 15 days after that.
Perfect.
So
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. Another positive feedback.
Yeah.
This is great, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Well, there you have it. You heard from people who are currently in Canada as permanent residents. You heard from people who still haven't arrived in Canada but have their COPRs approved. You have heard from all different, or other different kinds of people who are in different situations. They've shared with you what they think, what has been happening, what they feel they want to do. So that should give you a good understanding and good idea of what's what's happening out there. I thank you for joining in. Appreciate your having tuned in and staying with me for all this while. So do subscribe to the channel, do like, share if you think this was of any value. And until next time, bye-bye.